Welcome back. For part 2 of this lecture, we will review object file storage options in AWS. For object storage, AWS has Amazon S3. This is one of the most popular services in AWS and the oldest service, so it has a lot of features. With that, there are a lot of different use cases for S3. It'll come up on the exam a lot. At a high level, S3 is an object storage. That means you can store structured and unstructured data. You do not attach S3 to EC2, rather you integrate it via an IAM role attached to EC2. That is different from what you do for EBS, which is attached to EC2 logically. S3 is highly scalable, meaning you can add a lot of data into this without any constraints. S3 has high data availability. When you load data into S3, it actually replicates your data across 3 availability zones automatically. Remember regions and availability zones? With this, S3 is able to achieve 99.9 times 11 durability and 99.99% availability. We will dive deeper into the meaning of those terms in the associate and professional course. You can add many layers of security in S3, and it is highly performant for many workloads, except the use cases that EBS and file storage services are built for. There are many use cases for S3. As an example, S3 is good to store and protect many different data types. It is also extensively used for backup, restore, and archive solutions. And lastly, S3 is the backbone of many analytic workloads on AWS. Read some of its features. When you start using S3, you start off with creating a bucket. A bucket is a storage container that you add objects into. An object is any type of data. Once you have your bucket and objects, the next step is to organize the data. Remember, Amazon S3 is a flat structure, so it does not have hierarchies like you would see in a file storage. This has a lot to do with the way it stores data. But you can create a folder-like concept through a shared name prefix. This allows you to group the objects into a folder-like structure. The technical details of this are out of scope, but just know that you can create folder-like structure through prefixes in S3. The fourth feature of S3 is you can choose storage classes for S3 depending on access patterns for the data, how fast you need the data, and the acceptable cost. For example, if you access your data frequently and you need your data within milliseconds and are okay with higher costs, S3 Standard is your choice. If you want to apply automation and let S3 figure out your access patterns and automatically move data between the different storage tiers, then S3 Intelligent Tiering enables you to do that. S3 Standard Infrequent Access is for data infrequently accessed, but you still need it in milliseconds. S3 One Zone IA is a infrequently accessed data and you need it in seconds. Remember that by default, S3 copies your data across 3 availability zones. The reason why the time is in seconds for this option is that it only stores your data in one availability zone. You generally do this for low-cost data that can be easily reproduced like an image. Beyond that is archiving data. S3 Glacier is when you need your data in minutes to hours, but it's very infrequently accessed. And then you have Glacier Deep Archive, which is for rarely accessed data, and you can retrieve it in 12 to 48 hours. So depending on your access frequency, retrieval time, and cost, you can choose one of the storage classes for your objects. You might be asking why all this is created by AWS. It is because customers ask for it. Imagine a healthcare provider who's required to keep patient records for 7 years by law that they rarely access, and when they do, they can retrieve it in 2 days. That customer doesn't want their data in S3 standard because that would be costly. Instead, they will choose S3 Glacier Deep Archive. Some other features of S3 are cross-region replication. Remember AWS regions? You can set up S3 to automatically replicate your data across regions. This can be in your account or someone else's account. What's the benefit of this? To protect your data. In the unlikely event an AWS region goes down, then your data is backed up in another region that you can access. But remember, this is costly to have your data replicated to another region. You can also set up S3 to replicate your data within a single region. What if there is an external account in the same region that needs a copy of data? Same region replication will enable that. You can also enable versioning. This way, you can keep track of the raw data for version 1 and all the edits you have made, such as version 2 and version 3. Remember IAM access management? You can assign users IAM permissions to have access to S3 bucket data. You can also leverage S3's resource-based policy. S3 was one of the first services in AWS, way before IAM came along. When S3 was originally released to control access, you had to create bucket policies or resource-based policies. When IAM came around, AWS kept the bucket policies since so many customers were already using it, and it provided an extra layer of security and use cases for customers with highly sensitive data. So for a service like S3, you can manage access to internal and external users using either IAM policies or bucket policies. Lastly, by default, S3 is private, but you can make it public. This allows anyone to access the S3 bucket if they have the link for it. This also allows you to host static websites that users can access. The technical details of this are reserved for associate and professional exams, but for now, just know S3 has many other features, but these are the most used ones and the ones that end up on the Cloud Practitioner exam. Let's review some file storage options. Amazon Elastic File System, or Amazon EFS, is an elastic file storage that you can store file data. Amazon EFS can be attached to EC2, Lambda, ECS, EKS, and many other services. It automatically scales based on your demand, and it provides features to secure it. It is also highly performant. Amazon FSx for Windows provides fully managed Microsoft Windows file servers, backed by a fully native window file system. FSx for Lustre is also a file system and provides an interface and works as any file system with a Linux operating system. That is all you need to know for the Cloud Practitioner exam. We will dive deeper into these services for the associate and professional exam. As always, thank you for your support. Please like, subscribe, and comment. This helps us to grow our channel to the broader community and enables us to stay connected with you. For the full course, slides, practice exams, and labs, please visit our website at HiveTekCorp.com. For feedback, questions, and comments, please message me directly at info@HiveTekCorp.com.